Hey everyone, Tendra here. So I've been having a really good time with the time rifts. I was able to get all the armor and weapon transmogs, and all the pets and mounts out of it. I credit that to having so many characters. I was getting a drop every time I did a fresh character. And for the most part, I got all my characters in LFR gear now. All I have to do is use the catalyst to finish upgrading a few pieces on them. So it looks like in the next few weeks, all my characters will be fully LFR geared. And I like that, it's pretty nice. It gives me a lot of transmogs, and if I decide to play someone else, I don't feel terribly underpowered. But besides that, I did make it into my normal farms for the week, so let's take a look at them and see how I did. First up, I headed over to Siege of Orgrimmar. Out of here, I'm farming the Tusks of Mannoroth. I just love the new skip they put in. It's nice just having to kill Garrosh and that's it. It makes this place from being a nightmare to farm to being one of my fastest farms. So I headed over there, I teleported back to Garrosh, I took him down, and of course, I didn't see any shoulders again this week. I'll just keep at it and hopefully next week's a little better to me. Next up on my list was the Scythe of the Unmaker. For this I had to head over to Antorus the Burning Throne. I have to do it on Mythic because I'm after the red version. So once I got there I worked my way back to Argus the Unmaker. Dropped him, but he didn't drop his weapon. So maybe next week I'll have a little bit of better luck in here. So after striking out on both my transmog items, I started my mount farms. The first mount I was going after was the Hellfire Infernal. This drops from Nighthold, and I'm after the red version, so I have to do it on Mythic again. Once I got over there, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, and you're at the back, facing Gul'dan. I took him out, but again I didn't see the mount drop, so maybe next week it'll treat me a little nicer. Let's hope it does. This left me with just one raid to go, and that was Ulduar. So I headed up there, but on my way I always look for the time-lost Proto-Drake. I never see him. I'm afraid I'm just gonna have to camp here for like a week straight one time, and hope he spawns when I'm sitting there. But once I got up there, I headed back and took out Yogg-Saron. He didn't drop the mount, but that's pretty normal. Hopefully next week I'll have a little better luck in here. This is a pretty fast run, so I'm not minding it too much yet, but I would like to see the mount. So with all my raids out of the way, I wanted to start my 5-man mythics. The ones I'm doing are over in battle for Azeroth, and first up on my list was the Underrot. The mount I'm farming out of there is the Underrot Crawg. This is a really nice farm considering most of the trash in here you can skip. So once I got over there, I worked my way back to the Unbound Abomination, and I took him out, but he didn't drop the mount this time. So I'll be back here next week, and I'm gonna hope my luck is a little better then. The last thing I had left to do was another 5-man mythic instance, and this time it was King's Rest. This one I do as a multi-character farm, and in case you're wondering, this is where I take 13 characters through the same instance week after week until I get the mount to drop. So let's take a look this week and see how I did.
You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master has broken Zul's hold. I serve that swine no longer. You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master gathers power. You have broken Zul's hold. I serve that swine no longer. You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master gathers. None! You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now you have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master gathers power. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now his master... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, But Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master gathers power. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master...
Well, I made 131 attempts on this one, and this one seems like it's going to be a little bit of trouble to get. It's really funny, sometimes these drop really great, and other times they just don't want to drop at all. I guess that's why they say random is random. So I'll come back here next week on another 13 characters, and hopefully my luck is a little better then. And finally, in case you're wondering, this week I have a transmog that's from the Legion expansion. It's the Titanic Onslaught Armor, and it drops out of the Tomb of Sargeras. It comes in 4 versions, the Raid Finder, the Normal, the Heroic, and the Mythic. And I don't think any of the 4 look all that great. They're okay armors. I just don't think the colors are all that good. But all the pieces will drop inside of Tomb of Sargeras, so if you don't have these sets and you're gonna go after them, plan on spending a little bit of time over here. For me, some of the pieces just didn't want to drop, but I'm glad I got them done and over with. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. You can click on subscribe. Thanks for coming by and watching it. I'm going to send a hi out to my best friend, and you all take care.